From the nation's capital to the entire nation, the National Park Service National Capital Region presents the 48th Annual Fort Dupont Park Summer Concert Series live virtual experience. We're bringing your favorite artists to the stage. Be sure to tune in every Saturday from August 22nd to September 19th at 7:30 p.m. EST at FortDuPontParkConcerts.live. Enjoy the performances by the New Soul Searchers, legendary DJ Cool, Big Daddy Kane, Kindred, The Family Soul, Aztec Sun, Black Alley, Backyard Band, Sicily, Mesa, and We Are One Experience Band. All shows are free. So join WPFW and We Act Radio from the comfort of your home or organize a watch party following your state's guidelines for gathering. Either way, see you at FortDuPontParkConcerts.live.
Peace, peace. What up, y'all? This is Common right here, and we are now in tune with the people for sure. We doing the work out here, and we chilling with my man. Come on, We Act Radio. Let's go do something. Yeah, love.
Story I wanna tell you. Got a little story right now I wanna tell you. It's about we the people, we the people. It's about we the people. We the people, we the people.
right, yes indeed. You best believe this is DC's only independent radio station. We act radio broadcasting live on the radical side of Martin Luther King Avenue, the unabetted nation's capital, foothills, Cedar Hill, the land of Anacostia, Frederick Douglass on the bicentennial. All right, you were just listening to We the People, and we're going to have to keep on that rewind, because that is definitely one of the iconic jams and probably one of the records that broke Chuck Brown and the Soul Searchers, and that was also the request by the original surviving members of the Soul Searchers here today. So we're going to hear that a few times throughout this broadcast. But we have an honor to have them on today, because for those who do not know, we are about to honor Chuck Brown Day, as we do every year. And this particular time, we have the Fort Dupont Amphitheater Summer Series that's kicking off this weekend. That will be happening right here in the nation's capital, that has been going on for 48 years. This is the 48th annual Summer Spirit Concert Series at Fort Dupont Amphitheater. And this is where we really need to acknowledge our culture and the beauty of that, because it's been going on without incident in southeast, been going on without incident. Thousands of people gathered all the time, and it's been a peaceful family event, family affair, put on by the National Park Service. And this is the first year it's going to be a virtual concert because of the pandemic, of course. So there won't be 15,000 people in the park checking out Red Essence like they did last year. But hopefully we'll have that same people tuning in and to watch the broadcast. National Park Service, Fort DuPont Amphitheater Summer Series. It will be every Saturday at 7:30 from August 22nd, Chuck Brown Day, until September 19th. I'll be sharing more information about that as we get into the program. But as I was saying before, we're honored to have the original Soul Searchers join today to kick this thing off. And let me just say this the right way. I had the honor of writing the introduction to a Mochella picture book. And I just wanted to share a little excerpt here, because you know I had to use a lot of Chuck Brown quotes here. One of which is my favorite: whatever you do, big or small, do it well or don't do it all. And that's Chuck, of course. And I may be the only person alive that could drink a 40-ounce with Lil Benny behind Cherry's nightclub, smoked a joint with Chuck Brown and Mike Hughes' Renegade Studios on 14th Street and Rhode Island Avenue, and cried with Big G in the slave dungeons of the Cape Coast of Ghana in Africa. These are some of my personal accreditations that qualify me to speak on the urbanized African art form known to the world as go-go. Yes, I did say the entire world. Chuck traveled from Mexico to Japan. Trouble Funk Tour Europe Up, Experience Unlimited Open National Tours. Go-Go's journeyman Darnell Floyd may have been the first to perform in the motherland when he took the Team Familiar Band to Nigeria and performed at the King's Palace. Nico Hobson, the founder of Go-Go Radio Live, lived in Japan for years, cultivating a market for go-go that still exists there today. Every band that has ever performed in D.C. since 1979 has publicly recognized that go-go is king here in D.C. Few artists ever wanted to perform after a go-go band in D.C. Even the late, great Prince did a cover to Go-Go's first national hit, Chuck Brown's Bustin' Loose, when he performed here in D.C. And he said, and I quote, "You can't perform in D.C. without doing a go-go song." And Michelle Nigel went on to say that the first time I heard go-go, it blew my mind. So here joining me today is surviving members of the original Soul Searchers, who helped make go-go a genre of music and the official music of Washington, D.C. Welcome to We Act Radio, gentlemen.
Yeah, how you doing, man? Welcome.
All right, brother.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. I know I didn't do y'all any justice in that introduction, man. So y'all feel free to chime in and introduce yourselves. I'm sorry I didn't do you justice on that introduction.
Okay.
My name is Joe Norman Lawrence. I'm on bass. And we have the original Soul Searcher.
My name is Donald Tillery. I'm with the original Soul Searchers. I've been with Chuck for 18 years, and he really was my mentor. And I love the guy. And everything you said about him is true. And he's truly missed. He's truly missed. Happy birthday, Chuck, because I know you're partying up there.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So now, brothers, tell them what instruments do you play and how you came about to be a part of the original Soul Searchers.
Well, I play trumpet and vocals and do the background vocals and stuff. Oh boy, we're going way back there. I started with my own group, a group back in the day called the Epsilons, back in the '70s, and doing little gigs. And I had a big group, kind of a band and show type thing, And when you got about 13 or 14 people, it was a mess, But anyway, we was playing a show downtown called at a hotel at the time in D.C. called the Lojima. And back in those days, they were called cabarets, And those times we was there with Black Heat, people like that, and us. And anyway, we was doing the show, and I was getting ready to break for the band. It was time we was finishing the first set, and we were going into a break. And somebody came up and said something about, hey, man, Chuck Brown and the Searchers, man, is in the back. Now, the only thing I knew about Chuck Brown was of the Soul Search. I kept hearing him on the radio. I know these guys was like gigging every day, every night, every time you turn around. It was the Soul Searchers. It was Soul Searchers playing Longfellow Hall and Cafeteria and places like that. I said, who are these guys? Man, these guys must be, man, this is something that it just dawned on me at the time I heard about it, but I was so involved with my thing with this, with the Epsilon at that time. But anyway, somebody said, Chuck Brown from the Soul Searchers is here. I said, what? And I wanted to meet him. So he said, the guy told me, well, he's out in the hall, man. So I went out in the hall, and Chuck was there, and I met him, and he said, hi, man. My name is Chuck Brown. And I said, hey, Chuck, how you doing? Look, I heard you play trumpet, and I heard you the band and stuff, man, and I'm looking for a trumpet player. And I was wondering you might be interested. Now, I said, whoa, me? I mean, it was something that I really never thought that he would actually come up to me or even know me at that time, because I'm just out here playing and doing my thing because I love playing and stuff. And then he said, yeah, man, I like where you play, man. Why don't you come to one of my rehearsals? Now, at that time,
You're talking, this is what, 1979? I'm sorry, 1969?
That was in the 70s, yeah. That's when I had my own thing, and I met him at that time. It was about in 79.
No, 69.
I'm sorry, yeah, 69. So, and I was kind of, I was going through some changes at that time. So I was looking at my band and going through the changes that I had, and I'm looking at, well, let me weigh this, But anyway, at that time, I said, yeah, I'll come to the rehearsal. So I went to the rehearsal, and I was really skeptical at that time. I mean, this is the Soul Searchers, man. I don't know if I'm ready to play with these guys. And believe me, I had butterflies in my stomach, So as far as I knew, these guys are bad, So I went to the rehearsal, and at that time we had Johnny Ewell was on bass. He was the first bass player, and we had Horace Brock on keyboard, who was a 15-year-old musical genius, and we had Lloyd Pitchback.
Rest in peace to Lloyd Pitchback.
At that time. I'm sorry?
Yeah, rest in peace to Lloyd Pitchback.
Yes, amen. Lloyd, oh man, I don't know what I can say about Lloyd, but Lloyd was a genius. I love Lloyd. He helped me a lot with the music at that time. And we had Ricky Wellman on drums. Well, at that time we had Ricky Wellman's father. Ricky's father was playing drums at that time, and Ricky was playing with the Jaguars. Now, mind you, Ricky was like 12, 13 years old at that time. So we had these are some heck of musicians, and what was so incredible about Lloyd, Lloyd his eyes, as everybody knows, Lloyd was albino, and most of albinos are, their sight is really kind of, you can't really see or not. So Lloyd couldn't really read music because of, of the situation. But Lloyd had a heck of an ear. I mean, this guy was so, I couldn't believe how he would catch on with the music just by listening to him. I remember when he was living in Southeast, the kids used to call him the Pied Piper. He would go around over there near Southeast and play his flute all up and down the street, and kids would follow him. And he got the name. They used to call him the Pied Piper, and it was really phenomenal. You could see these kids just jumping and playing. The guy was, I don't know how he did it, but he helped me, because when I saw how do you do this? How do you learn these tunes just like that? And most of us read, but Lloyd was the one who really couldn't, because he heard it. So I said, well, wow, man. I picked up a lot of things from Lloyd, especially the just hearing it, playing the music by hearing. Now I read, but my reading wasn't that good. But Lloyd helped me and explained how he did it and stuff. So those times, those years that I played side by side with Lloyd, I learned a lot about him. And his cowbell work, I'd never seen anybody play a cowbell the way he did. And a lot of the things he did on the cowbell, I wound up picking up a tambourine. So the stuff that he was doing on the tambourine, I was kind of mimicking how I could just play it with a tambourine. So the way he was playing the cowbell backwards and forwards, I was trying to mimic what I could do the same thing on tambourine. So that's basically how I did that. But Chuck, oh man, it was kind of the thing that I'd never forget. I never would. And then when he told me, he said, man, you're in. I said, I'm in. I was totally out there. And I just told my band that I'm going with the Soul Searchers. And I hate to say it,
but I gotta go. I love you, but I gotta go.
Yeah, I got it. Hey, I really did. I mean, because I heard him on the radio, and I've heard stuff. These guys are bad. And then what made it so wild, when I actually got to the guys, at that time, it was 5 guys. It was only 5 of us. And I thought it was like 7, 8 guys. And I was totally surprised the sound we had at that time. But yeah, it was a very heavy experience. Joe, you do so many things, man, because I'll be talking about Chuck for.
I mean, you're the one that know the history, because I'm the recent
you're
add-on to the reformation of the Soul Searchers. It's in the past 2.5 years. So I'll just let you talk, brother.
Okay,
I'm the
all
right.
right.
By the way.
Yeah, we got to tell the stories. Got to tell the stories. For those who are just joining us, we got Joseph Lawrence, bassist, Donald Tillery, trumpet from the Soul Searchers. After years of laying low, the group formerly known as the Soul Searchers have returned and are responsible for 3 stellar albums, launching Chuck Brown's career. And these individuals are back with a passion for groove dance and a spirit of funk. And what they are doing here today is kicking off the 48th annual Fort Dupont Summer Series. They are starting on Chuck Brown's Day, August 22nd. That's Saturday at 7 p.m. with the We Are One Experience Band and the new Soul Searchers, followed by accompanied by DJ Lance Reynolds. Just want to get that introduction for those who did not have it. Joseph Lawrence, please continue.
Yeah.
You go ahead, Tillery. You continue, brother. You got the story.
Okay, all right. Well, so now people at that time, I had just got with the group, so I had a lot to learn. I had to kind of get the feel and just to get in there. I'm new. I'm paranoid too. I'm going through these butterflies, and I played with a lot of one-on-one groups, young guys, but to me, these guys were like number one. These were professional guys. I mean, I said, man, I'm here with the Searchers, man. But it was so unique that, like for instance, Horace Brock was what the youngest one in the band at that time. Now, a lot of people don't know that the group wasn't called the Soul Searchers at first. It was called the Los Latinos. And how Chuck got the name, I don't know, but it was called the Los Latinos at that time. So when I got in the group, Chuck had just recently changed that name from the Los Latinos to Soul Searchers. He had just really started doing that, having that name. So we really kind of getting a new group. He also had a guy named Charles on alto. So I took Charles' place. So when I came in, it was Charles. I understand Charles was playing alto, and Lloyd was playing flute only. He wasn't even playing saxophone, anything. That was the thing. But when I came into the group and took over from the alto player to trumpet, then Chuck asked Lloyd to see if he can buy a sax and started playing. So Lloyd got a sax, and then we started playing together. But he's definitely a phenomenal flute player. I mean, the guy is just awesome. But the key of the group that people would say when we would play, man, y'all sound just like the record. Back in those days, we was doing a lot of stuff that sound like the record. But and people wanted to know, musicians exactly wanted to know, how do y'all do that? How y'all sound like that? And really, he found that the secret was Horace Brock, the keyboard, the organist. Horace Brock had perfect pitch. And that was one of our secrets. Horace could take a Hammond organ and break it down and boost it up. He was a genius on this. He could hear any chords. So we would listen to a tune, and Horace would tell us automatically what the chords are right there, and with the horns. So we played it, and that's really how we wound up playing the tunes almost as close as the record with Horace. But Chuck had so many gifted. The thing about Chuck knew how to pick the musicians that he wanted to play behind him. He had that gift. How he did it, I do not know, but he had a gift to get these musicians. He knew where to go. He knew what he wanted. And that's kind of hard to do, really, if you think about it, to actually pick someone that you can play with, and you don't even know this person, but you just know how he is. You look at, he knew the feel, he knew the communication. It was a family. But anyway, we wind up playing. I wound up playing with Chuck, and during that time, there was a trombone player. There was a trombone player who was playing the squad room and places like that. It was a trombone player that wanted to fit in with the group who was at a show. I think it was in the squad room when we first went, Buchanan. And I told Chuck, I said, Chuck, this is a trombone player, man, wants to sit in. Now, Buchanan and I knew Buchanan when he was going to McKinley High, at that time, But, we communicated and we talked, But John wanted to sit in with Chuck, and I asked Chuck about it, and Chuck was kind of leery about having someone to sit in, because he really didn't like having people sit in at that time. But John kept coming to the gigs, and Chuck said, well, yeah, let him come on, let him go on and sit in. So John came up and started sitting in. He played trombone, and he played with us, with Lloyd and me and John, and the sound. I said, whoa, this sound is heavy. Chuck liked it. Then he found that Buchanan could play keyboards too. So that really helped a lot at that time, because I don't think we didn't have a keyboard player that was playing a lot of the stuff that was missing on some of the songs. We had Horace Brock. But a couple of years later, I think about a year or 2 years later, Horace got sick to a point where he was unable to play. So at that time, we had John coming in, playing trombone, and Chuck knew that, hey, you can't even know how to play keyboard. So Chuck wind up having John come in. Now, remember, John was still in college. He was coming back and forth, on summer break at that time, coming back and coming to the gigs, and he heard us, he loved us. At that time, he was going back. He was in Notre Dame. He was going to Notre Dame. So, push come to shove, John graduated. John asked, can we get into the group? And Chuck said, yeah, come on, man, I want you. So John came in with the group, which was totally, John was an asset to the band also. Everyone in the band, every musician that Chuck had certain gifts that we can give out to the band and to the people. I don't know, it just came together. John sung, he was singing, I was singing. Johnny Yule was the bass player who Chuck taught how to play bass. Johnny Yule didn't know anything about playing bass. He was an engineer.
Chuck taught him how to play bass?
Chuck taught Johnny Yule how to play bass on his own. And that takes a lot of patience to have somebody who is not even into music. He was an engineer. He was studying to be a recording engineer. So, and Johnny Yule was living in Southeast also. So Chuck would take the time to teach him how to play bass. Yeah. And it's so weird because some of the tunes, like We the People and all that, John was quick. Chuck taught him the basics of the bass. From that point on, Johnny Yule just practiced, listen to Chuck. There's certain things that Chuck had to have his way, which is understandable. There's a sound that you have to keep that really people like. So you got to make sure that you have the musicians that's going to give you that sound. So Chuck and Johnny Yule were friends anyway. So he taught him how to play the bass, and it was remarkable. I could tell stories how this band had came from so far, and the name. I learned so much from him. We had so many good musicians that played with Chuck, and I've learned a lot from it too. I don't think any musician who played with, and it's been a lot, Hilton Felton, who was keyboard player for George Benson. Hilton Felton, I can't even remember a lot. Charles Fuller, all these guys that came through. So it's been so many, But we went a long way. We came a long way from what we were doing, and Chuck. I don't know, maybe some of y'all know the story about Chuck. Chuck was in jail, Unfortunately, back in those days, there was kind of racial type things and those things. But Chuck went to jail. Chuck was a fighter. He was a boxer. And at the time when Chuck came out of jail, the way he got into, he was a sparring partner for, I think it was, I can't remember the name, Sonny Liston. Chuck was sparring for Sonny. When Chuck got out of jail, he had no jobs. Where he told me they gave him $6 and a used suit. And that's, when you get out of jail, that's what's happening, So Chuck had no money but the $6. He had to feed himself. So what Chuck did, he wound up preaching on the streets of Richmond, North Carolina, and that's how he actually started how to rap. He preached the gospel, and a lot of people didn't know that.
Wow!
But he, in order to survive, he preached the gospel, and people would throw pennies and put pennies and stuff in his hat, and dollars, and he would preach the gospel. And a lot of people didn't know too. When he was in jail, he was actually was going to be a minister. See, some of these people don't. He was actually going to be a minister. The thing was, when the way Chuck got into jail, Chuck was a sparring partner. He did a lot of sparring partner with Sonny Liston, Bobby Foster, all of them. So one day,
This is the first time I'm hearing that he was a sparring partner for Sonny Liston.
Yes, exactly. See, a lot of people would tell things about Chuck that they think they know, and I've seen some of the unsung things. I was on there. I've heard some things, but I'm going way back to things that nobody knew. Chuck was a sparring partner. When he got out of jail, he learned how to play guitar in jail. He learned all of that. Chuck, what happened was Chuck went to it was a 1-hour cleaners on 14th Street, downtown. It's now a 24-hour CVS on Logan Circle. Chuck was going in to clean it to get his clothes. Unfortunately, a white guy, back in those days, up in the 50s and 60s, that's racial time. Chuck was going in, a white man was coming out, and he called him the N-word. Chuck got mad and hit him, and cracked his jaw, and the guy went down. Now, remember he's a boxer, and boxers are licensed. You can't really hit anybody because your fists are licensed, So anyway, unfortunately, he wind up on an assault charge, and the white man pressed charges. He went in, and he really got 18 months for that. But he got a good behavior by the time he was in by playing the guitar and playing in the band and in the jail and doing certain things, just keeping himself together. They let him out early. Okay, so a lot of things he did, the people really didn't know. He was in a jail in Atlanta, Georgia, underground. There was an underground. He was in jail one time in an underground jail where the only time you can get out and see daylight is when you finish your time. Everything was underground. So he's been through a lot. A lot of people don't know about Chuck, So he's gone from where he came from to a legend now. It's remarkable. He was a very strong man. He would do push-ups upside down. To the wall. He was a heck of a guy. But yeah, he was a boxer, and he did. That's how he wound up making his money too. He was a sparring partner to a lot of the boxers around because he couldn't really get a job at that time. Just got out of jail. He's a black man, and at that time in the white man's world, so it's very hard. Once you hit a white man, especially in that time, it's hard to get anything. So he wound up being a sparring partner, and he started sparring for Bobby Foster. Bobby Foster was supposed to be one of the DC top fighters around. But at that time, Bobby was married to Eleanor, who was Chuck's first wife. Okay. Eleanor was a very strong woman. And, things kind of happened, and Eleanor started talking to Chuck, and they started talking. Now, at that time, Bobby was kind of out there at that time, But anyway, push comes to shove, Chuck and then they started talking and seeing each other, and Eleanor got a divorce. And she wound up marrying Chuck Brown. And that's a story that they leave out about Eleanor. But it was I enjoyed it. The years that I've been there and with these guys, we were family. It was just a thing that we was so much family. Chuck could play a chord on a guitar. He didn't even have to tell us the name of the song. He would play a chord, and all of a sudden we knew what it was. That's how close we were. We would go. We would go to Lloyd's apartment after his show and sit down and listen to Joe Zawinul, Frank Zappa. That was Buchanan's man. Frank Zappa. Weather Report. These Blood, Sweat, and Tears. These are the guys. These are the bands that we were actually listening to. We was really gone past a lot of stuff. We was before our time. I mean, a lot of people doing what we're doing, but we was listening to a lot of stuff. James Moody, we were very musical guys, and we would sit down and after the show and chill, and have a couple of beers and do our thing, listen to these guys and get ideas of songs. Grover Washington and all these guys, So we was into that. Everybody was jazz guys, We just loved music, And it was a very, it was very. I don't know if you all want me to tell you the story about how we actually got go-go started.
Well, let's get into it. I know that a little bit, but now let's get into it.
Okay, well, okay.
Well, first, let me chime in right quick for those who know that you can watch the Fort DuPont concert live stream at FortDuPontParkConcerts.live. That's FortDuPontParkConcerts.live. Each and every Saturday at 7:30 p.m. from Chuck Brown Day until September 19th, and we are here joined on WEAC Radio with some of the original members of the Soul Searchers, who is kicking it off on Chuck Brown Day here. I'm sorry to interrupt. Please continue, Donna.
Oh, no, that's definitely. We want everybody to come out there. Remind everybody. And bring your mask. Bring your mask, bring your mask,
in your house.
Well, they can stay home or they can have some friends over. Bring
your mask and look at it or whatever.
Yeah, that's indeed, and turn it up loud.
There you go. But yeah, the story was we had two shows, and the first show we did a cabaret at the I think it was Burn Manor. And some of you baby boomers probably will know about Burn Manor. It was out in the Southeast. That was the cabaret place, BYOL, and we would party. We did a thing there, and we did the cabaret. I think the cabaret was over like 2:00. It was one of the Malay shows. Now this is how wild back in those days and fun it was. You can leave a cabaret and then you can go to a go-go. But back in those days, it wasn't actually called the go-go yet. We did cabaret. When the go-go started, we left the cabaret because Chuck said, "Well, man, I'm gonna stay here, and get the money." But I said, "Y'all go head over, man, to the Masonic Temple," because people were waiting. The promoters, they were waiting. They were scared, and people. So the band wound up going over to Burn Manor, and trying to get set up. By the time we got to Go-Go Manor,
Masonic Temple.
I'm sorry, you're right, Masonic Temple, right on 10th Street. And when we got there, I mean, the line was all over the place. I mean, people were just outside. People couldn't. They was driving their cars. It was so crowded. It was a mess. So by the time we got there, people was, "Yeah, man, when y'all gonna play?" Yelling and screaming. They here. So we wound up going upstairs. Joe Clark was the promoter at that time. Joe, he's nervous. Man, y'all go ahead, man. Y'all got to go ahead and play. So we went on up and sat up and did our thing. But we were kind of stalling, because we was kind of waiting for Chuck. I mean, Chuck was the man, But the promoters, they said, "Man, we got to let him in. Y'all got to do something." So we wound up just starting to play. So what we did, we just played rhythm stuff, just playing. I'm playing tambourine and doing our thing until Chuck got there. But what really was wild, we just did Grover Washington, Mr. Magic, just the intro of Mr. Magic. Now, basically, that was one of the songs we generally do first. Mm-hmm. But we couldn't do the whole song because Chuck wasn't there and the bass player wasn't there. So we wind up playing just, the rhythm and Ricky Wellman on drums and doing this, and I'm playing tambourine. We doing so. People started coming in and say, "Man, what's that beat, man? What's that groove?" And everybody started just coming in and say, "Man, that's funky, man. Man, that what a beat, man." Hey, they liked it. We kept on playing this beat, and all of a sudden, Chuck winds up coming in along with the bass player. At that time, it was Jerry Wilder playing. So we kept on playing this beat, and Ricky had put this extra beat on the bass drum, and was kind of a beat that nobody knew. But what is it? It was just funky. So we just kept on doing what we were doing, and people kept on dancing and coming, "Hey, man, that's cool, man. What is that beat, man? What is that beat?" So we didn't even know. We were just grooving, talking to the people and blase, until Chuck got up there. So when Chuck got up there and played his guitar and stuff, the first song we did was Mr. Magic. Doom, 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 doom. And if you notice that, we kept that same beat. Somebody in the audience said, "Man, that is a go-go beat." And we didn't know what that was. We said, "Go-go." We just kept on playing that too, that beat. After we played Mr. Magic, we were running late. Instead of stopping, we kept going. We went into another cover tune with the same beat. So we didn't have to change. Then from there, we went to another go, and people were just getting off and jumping and screaming, and whatever it was, it worked. So next we wound up, everybody started saying, "Go, go, 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 go." I said, "Whoa, okay." So we kept playing it, and the whole night we wound up playing every cover tune with that same beat. And we started that just on a gig. That's how the communication, and that's how much family we were. We could just feed off each other, and that beat just kept going. Now, mind you, we wasn't really playing any go-go at that time. We was playing just regular funk. At those times, it was just funky. So we wound up playing this show every Thursday night. We would be over there at Masonic Temple, and we said, "Well, whoa, we just keep that beat going." And from there on, we kept doing the beat, and it just progressed and progressed and progressed. Now this is something that we did out of just vibing,
Just vibing.
and just being close, just vibing. We would just come up with an idea. If somebody had an idea or a funk beat, we just go along with it. This is how we would do it. That's how close we were. And these that's what really made the Soul Searchers. It was very hard. It was so hard for Chuck to get anybody else to really take that spot from us at that time, because remember, he picked us. So, and he knew what he wanted,
Right.
And so what we did, we were jazz oriented. We were jazz guys, but we dug all kind of music, But what we did, we wound up playing go-go and mixing it with jazz. And a lot of bands said, "Man, wow, these guys are wow, man. What are you doing? Now these guys are rough, man. What are you playing?" So you got to remember, at that time, Chuck knew all those old time songs. Chuck knew that. Half the time we didn't. We were following him. So a lot of the stuff, we just put the groove in there. And when we found out what he was doing, man, what is special like Moody's Mood? We didn't know anything about no Moody's Mood. Chuck started singing, "There I go," and we kept, whoa, what is, a lot of the stuff that we did was basically on stage.
Oh my goodness!
We improvised a lot.
It was spontaneous
We
like that.
improvised.
Right.
Yes. See, this is one of the things people know. It was so wow, and that's one of the things that made the Soul Searchers the way they are. We could just listen and pick up on stage, and then what makes it so wow, after we do and pick up the group, then afterwards we would go to rehearsal. Then, and what we played on stage, then we started rehearsing what we played.
Y'all would do a rehearsal
and get
after the
pattern
show?
and get it right. After, right. A lot of the stuff we did on CD, a lot of stuff we did on stage, we did a lot of improvising. And if we come up with some on stage and see that the people dug it, they said, man, they like this. Then when we rehearse, we would go over the stuff that we improvise on stage, and we rehearse it and have a set pattern of the songs.
That makes a lot of sense.
And it does, because you find that you listen to what you're playing. You say, man, look, man, what we did the other on the gig, man, we can put this here, we can put that there. John Buchanan was one of the primary, arrangers. This guy, and I tell anybody whenever I see him, man, who did We the People? John Buchanan. And I got to give him. John had so many ideas, that he put in with We the People, how to sing it, how to provide it. We call him. He was the nerd of the band. I hope you don't get mad at that. But he was the nerd of the band. The guy's IQ was out there. And he come up with these ideas. 1993, something that it wasn't even 1993 then. We was doing things like in the 80s and recording stuff in 1993 with these weird beats and dum 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 dum. It was one of those, and all he had to do is let us know how to do it. And then, especially with the albums, we would just take our time and listen to each other. And John would let us go. He had all this stuff in his head. The guy knew what he wanted. So it was stuff we were doing, because it was really his idea for the first album, We the People. Man, why don't we go ahead and record something? And record. We weren't even thinking about recording. We were just a bunch of young guys having fun, playing in D.C., and doing our thing, we sat down, had a meeting, and let's do it, And at that time, we was into the We the People, back in those days, it was a lot of riots and stuff like that, and we wind up having this idea. John had the idea of putting up, We the People, when will the people be able to see us together? The lyrics he wrote, and all we did was just learn it. And he was very instrumental in the group. Now we had a lot of good guys, and we had some things, but we worked together, and that was one of the things that really got us the way we were. We worked together. Anybody had certain ideas, you tell your ideas, and hey, if it's not a good idea, we listen to somebody else's. We just did it like that. It wasn't no big heads and none of that stuff. We just worked together. We were family.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because normally it's horror stories when you hear about the struggles of keeping a band together. But I know Chuck was demanding, but he wasn't quite James Brown demanding. But what were some of the struggles that you guys did go through? What was one of the struggles you could share with us that you did go through and you somehow overcame?
Well, one of the struggles was when we went on the road. At the time, when we went on the road, we was on the bus, and the bus that we had going up, I think we was going up to where were we going to? I can't remember. San Antonio. Anyway, where the bus that we had, it didn't have any heat, nothing, and it was this reason. No heat. It was one of those old buses, the 2-seater. You sit there and put things under the chair, and we riding all up at night in these in the cold and going through these changes. Uh, the bus stopped on us. The bus broke down. You know, so we had to sleep we had to sleep in the cold bus, all balled up and stuff until the next day, until we got a mechanic to come out and fix it. You know, and then we was in Boston. We was in Boston doing the place called I think it was the Sugar Shack. I believe it was the Sugar Shack in Boston, But what happened, we couldn't afford the money to get a hotel. So we wound up sleeping in the back of the dressing room on the floor. So and for the next day, I mean, it wasn't really, it wasn't easy. You know,
trials and tribulations of the travel.
Oh, please. You know, Joe, it wasn't, a lot of these young guys think it's all, no. You got to go through certain things.
Real talk.
Right. We went through a lot of stuff. I remember we were leaving Boston, and we got on the bus. It was day, and I think I don't know if you can remember it, but we was on our way to Oklahoma, and we was on the bus and we left, and Buchanan said, "Anybody see my horn?" And I said, "Man, I ain't see your horn, man. Y'all ain't see my." Well, anyway, to make a long story short, he wound up leaving his trombone on the street in broad daylight on the corner. So the busman we had to go back and get his horn. Now, where we was a couple of blocks. We wasn't too far from Berkeley, and that was really weird, But we got back. We go back. The bus driver drove us back, and when we go back, his trombone was still on the corner, and people. Nobody took it. Nobody stole it. They was just actually walking by. So we got out the bus. JB got out the bus and got his horn. And this is broad daylight now in Boston, right down the street from the college. So we had to go back to get his trombone. We got his trombone, then we wound up going where we were going. It was a couple of things that we went through there. But I think that was one of the things a couple of things that we went through. It wasn't really easy. You got to wreck it out, and people think, well, hey man, I'm a star and all. No, it's not like that. You got to kind of work up to this. There's a lot of things. You dot your I's and all that, and contracts and producers and record companies, and they want this and they want a piece of that, and you got to do this. Going to the Soul Train, that, just to give you a good example about that, when we went up to do Soul Train, we weren't into those big old hotels and all that. We was down on the Sunset Boulevard in a small hotel down there, and we was getting ready to do the Soul Train thing. Now, remind you, at that time, we wind up with a contract with Sussex Records at that time, and they had just signed the Johnson Brothers. They signed us, and Angela Bofield. Now, all three of us was in this rinky-dink hotel right on the Strip. Now, this is how it is, So we're getting ready to go to the Soul Train to do the Soul Train thing, and Don sends us. He sends a Rolls Royce, and he sends a Cadillac. So the Rolls Royce was blue, So unfortunately, at that time, everybody wanted to get into the Rolls Royce. We've never been invited in no Rolls Royce. So we, little things happen. Chuck, they had to go being in. And we had Leroy Fleming at that time playing, the tall guy, the cane man. And we had a little discrepancy about who wants to get into the Rolls Royce and all that stuff, It was, I said, whoa, wait a minute, man. It's not ours. Y'all like, no, who's going to get in the Rolls Royce? It's a ride, man. It was a lot of those things that we went through. I mean, in California, when we first got there, we saw a band up in the roof playing on top of a roof. in broad daylight. I'd never seen that before. It was a real high-rise place. It was a hard rock band playing on the roof. Whoa, it was very wild, it's I don't know how to tell it, but anyway, we went through a lot of things. We saw a lot, and
y'all saw a lot and y'all did a lot
too. Oh yes. Oh yeah. We learned a lot. We did. We learned a lot. We did a show with Peabo Bryson, and it was us, some people, and a couple others. And by listening to other people and other musicians and learning a lot, But me personally, it was really hard when Chuck passed, and then Ricky Wellman. Ricky, he and at the time we did not know that Ricky had cancer, and we didn't know because Ricky was the kind of guy who was a very strong drummer. He liked to keep things for himself. Nobody knew at that time that he had that in the band until later on, after he stayed with Miles. I think he went with Miles for 5 years.
Yeah, he played on the John Pierre record I love so much.
Right, right. He was one of the guy. He's a phenomenal brother. I mean, the guy was so bad on drums. A lot of people don't know that Ricky didn't have a toe on that bass drum. They had to amputate his toe. When he was a kid,
a 9-toe drummer.
They had to amputate his toe. They had to amputate his toe on the bass drum. When you hear him doing them double, no toe. That's what they call it. No toe. All that was just on his four little toe, on his 4 toes in it. He didn't have no toe.
Oh my goodness.
And it was so strong. Yeah. I mean, he was so strong. Everybody in the band was scared to even shake his hand. Because if you shake his hand, it'll crush it. Hey man, how you doing, man? But no, I can't shake your hand, bro.
Yeah, drummers like that. Drummers like that. Yeah, Congo players, and all that. Yeah, I can dig it.
Oh yeah.
Brothers, that's about our time for today. It's an honor to have you guys join with us. I want to make sure that you guys get a closing comment from each of you if you care to. What is something that you're most proud of in your time in the band working with Chuck, or what's the most memorable thing that you take away with you from that experience?
The personnel that we had, the guys that came through. All of them, Buchanan and Ricky, JB, Johnny Yule, all these guys that we played that made the family. God bless them all. And this is one of the reasons why I want to continue keeping the name, not just for the name itself. Keep that legacy going, not for the name, it's for them too. I mean, it's only 2 that are actually playing now, and of the original Soul Searchers. That's John Buchanan and me. And I hope, they up in the sky can help me or see what I'm trying to do. So maybe, and when I'm gone, maybe somebody else can take over that legacy. I want to keep that legacy in D.C. because this is where we started. This is it. Y'all, the people, y'all made us. We didn't make ourselves by ourselves. Y'all did it. And I want that legacy to stay in D.C.
And not just D.C. To chime in, but, around the country, this music, the Soul Searchers and other bands, that did similar type music, the whole decade of the 70s, I mean, in my personal opinion, is that when it comes to music.
Oh, yes.
That type of music keep going from generation to generation is very important. It's critical.
Yes.
Absolutely. And in the article that I wrote for this Go-Go pictorial book called Mochella, I quoted Chuck saying that the people in the city participated and took part just as much in the creation of this genre of music as the actual musicians. And so that was,
Amen.
we all are in this
Definitely.
together. And I think that's what the
Yes.
title Soul Searchers really resonates with so many people, because we all can identify with that, because we're all searching. And it has to be a
Yes.
soul thing.
Thank you.
It's always a soul thing. That's always a soul thing. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers and sisters, friends and enemies, please, by all means, do what you got to do to get in tune to the Fort DuPont Summer Series, the first virtual concert. You ain't even got to go nowhere. That's Fort DuPont Park Concerts.live. Fort DuPont Park Concerts.live. And that is kicking off on Chuck Day tomorrow, and each and every Saturday at 7:30 p.m. from Chuck Brown Day to September 19th. Please do what you can, and whatever you do, do something. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to again reach out and thank our illustrious guest here, Joseph Lawrence on bass, Donald Tillery on trumpet, rest in peace to Lord Pinchback, and the nine-toe drummer Ricky. We want to make sure that we give our flowers to those who's here. So, brothers, don't feel no kind of way. You're welcome to come down to WEAC Rail and sign our wall. We have a honor wall. There's quite a few towering figures up there, and I would love to have you guys come down here and add your name to the sauce. Okay?
Absolutely.
So keep on keeping on, and taking us out of here is the record that started it all, Bustin' Loose. Stay strong, brothers.
Right on.
One love.
God bless you.
Y'all doing that? That's what it is.
Yeah, well, this is Hugh Masekela, and we at radio. Don't forget your heritage, because if you don't know where you're coming from, you ain't going nowhere.
From the nation's capital to the entire nation, the National Park Service National Capital Region presents the 48th Annual Fort Dupont Park Summer Concert Series live virtual experience. We're bringing your favorite artists to the stage. Be sure to tune in every Saturday from August 22nd to September 19th at 7:30 p.m. EST at FortDuPontParkConcerts.live. Enjoy the performances by the New Soul Searchers, legendary DJ Cool, Big Daddy Kane, Kindred, The Family Soul, Aztec Sun, Black Alley, Backyard Band, Sicily, Mesa, and We Are One Experience Band. All shows are free. So join WPFW and We Act Radio from the comfort of your home or organize a watch party following your state's guidelines for gathering. Either way, see you at FortDuPontParkConcerts.live.